we could have everyone come in from the cafe and downstairs. Is everyone excited for our youth service today? I'm so excited. And I'm going to turn it over to Jonathan to be our MC. Let's welcome up Jonathan.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's good to see you all. I'm glad that you're all here. I'll be your MC for this week. Now I'd like you to join me in a prayer. Dear God, thank you for this bright sunny day in which we can all share our experiences this past week, and we can have time with each other, and that we all have, even though we had maybe good experiences or bad experience, we all come together as one. And I hope that the rest of the day will be just like this. Amen at you. Okay. Since we have a special guest today, we have Ryan Daniel playing his guitar.
Hello, my name is Ryan Daniel, and I will be singing Let It Be by the Beatles. And what inspired me to do this song is because it's really peaceful and calming, and when I'm in my room, like rowdy or something, it just like makes me feel, and when I play this song, it just calms me down and stuff. And it was written by Paul McCartney, and he's one of the Beatles, and when he was 14, his mom died, and then 10 years later, she came to him in a dream in his hour of darkness, and it's Mother Mary, he calls her, and in his hour of darkness, she came to him speaking words of wisdom. And I hope it brings peace and calmness to you like it always does to me. Thank you. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be.
Thank you, Ryan Daniel, for that song. Okay. Now we will have Joey Nye for our sermon, and his sermon is about the transitioning between being a child and being an adult. Let's give a welcome.
Morning, everybody. How's everyone's week been so far? Good. I'll tell you, my week has been pretty crazy as I've been preparing for this. A little bit of nerves, but I'm ready. So let's get right into it. My sermon today is all about children. Who here remembers being a child? Maybe a little wild for some of you. In all seriousness, I bet that most, if not all of your decisions were made for you by your parents. You were told, you're going to school, we're going to church, do your homework, eat your vegetables, that kind of thing. It's a very dependent relationship. My main question for you today is, when did you start to make those decisions for yourself? When did you say, I'm going to church, I'm going to go to school, to college, I'm going to, eat my vegetables? I'm guessing that it wasn't just a day or a sudden switch that you woke up one day and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to be an adult, I'm going to go out and get a job. It doesn't happen like that. It takes time, it takes experience. It's a period that you have to go through to become an adult. But what constitutes the end of that period? Sir. You see, how do you graduate from childhood, so to speak? You see, these are the types of problems or challenges that I'm facing today. Up until this point in my life, most of the big decisions, or all of them rather, had been made for me, and to some extent they still are now. But I've realized more and more that I'm coming up to that point where it's not going to be made for me, that I have to make those decisions, and that's both liberating and very scary. Simply put, I've realized that soon I'm going to be an adult. And, I've dreamed about that kind of thing when I was young, but that was the naive me, the me that thought, I was going to eat ice cream for every meal because no one's going to tell me no. But as I became more mature about the prospect, as I grew a little bit older, a couple years ago rather, that I realized I didn't really know what it meant. Adulthood was kind of just a thing. So I decided that I was going to try and see, what does it mean? So I started to do some digging on the subject in the church and found that with the divine principle and all the wisdom and the words of wisdom, and it didn't really say anything about that transition period. And don't get me wrong, there's words like, the 3 growth stages. You have to act like a perfect person, give love to everybody unconditionally, and you'll grow through those stages into a perfect person. But that seems so abstract to me. It's not personal, it's not related to me, it's related to everybody. And I'm not taking anything away from it. They're great words, but it's just not specific. It's not related to me. So I began to think about what I used to think adulthood meant. Other than the thought of the freedom and the endless fun that I was going to have, I thought of adulthood as something that was given for free. Once a person was of age, they received this thing, and it was adulthood. And with it, they had, so to speak, a map that, they were assigned what they were going to do in life, how they were going to do it, and when they were going to do it. They had their life, They had their life figured out for them as soon as they turned of age, and it was natural, and best of all, it didn't require any effort on my part. I would just get it, once I'm 18. But, and it also applies to faith as well, because as I was younger, the conditions that I had to do, the pledges, the vows, the little fasts and stuff, they didn't really make sense to me. They were a little bit weird to do when I was young, because, I didn't get it, but I did it. And I thought, faith would come with adulthood. I would get it once I became an adult. So, through that, I thought that faith would come with adulthood. So I believed through the confidence of my parents that they were telling me what to do, through the faith, that I would eventually get that through them once I was an adult. So I believed through them, and that was my experience with faith when I was young, because I didn't have any experience of my own to go off of. So it would all make sense when I was an adult anyway. I would have that map, that special thing. So that was my belief of faith, that I had to believe through others because, they had that map. They knew what they were doing, and since I didn't, I would eventually. I would know when I was of age. So in my own way, I thought of faith almost as an accessory that came with adulthood. But as I get older, I've realized that's not true at all. In fact, I've realized the opposite is kind of true. The older I get, the more questions I have about the world, and the less answers I have, the less confidence I have in my faith, the less I know about what's going to happen in my life. And I had begun to see, as I got a little bit older, early teens, that there was no big plan in life. There was no map that you got. There was no special thing that adulthood came with, and that the adults that I believed so much in were just doing what they believed was right, not what they were assigned to do, like I had thought. And I'm not going to lie, that was a shocker when I found out. And this was something I realized at the age of 13, around that. Around the age of 10, I thought that when I was the ripe old age of 15, that I am now, that, I would be already close to being an adult. So I would have everything that I needed. I would have a plan of where I'm going, what I needed to do. I would already be pretty good at it. I would be almost a master, and I would have a direction that I'm going in life. I would be well on my way. But I thought of that kind of thing as the same thing with adulthood, that it would just come to me. So I waited, and nothing came. So eventually, I realized that nothing was going to come to me, that I had to take it for myself. And through that, I realized that adulthood is not something that you gain for free. It's something that you have to find, and that applies to faith as well. You see, my view of faith from when I was young was also shattered. I thought that as, you would come with adulthood and you have a big switch, I would suddenly be like, yeah, I want to go out 12 hours a day witnessing, do 7-day fasts every day, every month, and, I would be ready and willing to do everything for the faith as I got older. So that didn't happen, obviously, but it didn't happen. And, I didn't have that magical switch that made me motivated to do the faith, and it honestly I got less confidence rather than more. And I began to see faith of more of a way of life, as a choice, and that is a lot harder than something that's given, because you have to consciously decide every day to live this way. And it's not enough to just wait for it to come to you. The same with adulthood. You have to find it. You have to take it. So as I got older, I began to think harder about those things that I had learned. That as I got older, I would have to take everything that I wanted, that I wouldn't just get it. And at the end, I boiled adulthood down to a single choice. Not necessarily a single choice in the sense that it's just one choice that you have to make once you're 18, but rather it's a choice that you have to mature into. So one thing that kind of was an anomaly for me when I was younger was that some adults, to me, acted more like children, and some children acted more like adults. It didn't make sense. I didn't understand, because if you got that special thing, then how can those people with that thing did they not get it, or I didn't understand. So to me, I've realized once I boiled it down to this choice that those people didn't make a choice. They're still flip-flopping around in both pools. They have their toes dipped in the pool of faith and their toes dipped in the pool of the secular world, because they can't make a decision. And they wanted to live in one, but they're too afraid to leave the other one. So so in that sense, they live in both, and by living in both, they live in neither world. the more I thought about this, the more it reminded me about one of Aesop's fables. I forget what it's called, but it's about a war between the mammals and the birds. And the story centers on the bats, which, since they had the fur of mammals and the wings of birds, they could fight on either side. So in the beginning, the bats decided to fight for the mammals because they thought they had the best chance of winning. So eventually, about a quarter of the way into the war, the mammals start to lose. They're losing. So the bats pack up and move on to the bird side, and the birds let them fight. Again, around the end of the war, the mammals regain their lead. So the bats, again, they pick up and leave, go back to the mammal side. And the mammals do let them fight, and eventually win the war. But after the war, during the celebrations, the mammals shunned the bats because the bats had been fighting against them for quite some time in the war. And the bats, they realized their mistake as they went over to the bird side and were also shunned there. Because since they had been fighting for both sides, they had been fighting for neither side, because both sides had some kind of anger toward them, because, again, they had fought against the birds and the mammals. So you can't live in both worlds, and I think that's the choice that ends the transition period to adulthood. You see, you have to decide which pool you want to dive in and dive in. You can't dip feet in both pools, because by doing so, you can't live in either pool. And sorry. That big choice and the little choices that lead up to that big choice, that's what makes an adult. You see, once you decide which pool you want to dive in, the secular or the faith, then that's when you become an adult. You choose what direction your life is going to take. And I'm understanding now, as I get older and older, that the choices I make during this period and a couple years after as well, that these big choices will decide who I become. They will shape my life into the adult that I'm going to become, and that is a lot scarier than just being on my own. So I know that it won't be easy, but if I can keep that faith and dive into that pool wholeheartedly, then I think I can go from a child to a man of God. Thank you. That's all I got.
Let's give another round of applause for Joey. Now we will bring up the tithe, and Elvis will bring it up.
Dear Heavenly Parents, thank you for this wonderful Sunday you have given us, where we all come together and we take the sermon that Joey has just given us and use it in our everyday life. Thank you for bringing us all together again and having a great Sunday. I pray this in my name, Elvis DeBoni, son of the DeBoni family. Blessed Central family. Adieu.
Now we will have our weekly update. Our weekly update has events that have happened this past week.
Hello, this is Kinasa from America's Tentative Missionary Team. We're here currently in Czech Republic, Prague, and here is your weekly update.
In early February, several UPF chapters around the nation held various programs to celebrate Interfaith Harmony Week 2018 to support the work of the United Nations in promoting interfaith harmony and peace building. Events included a prayer breakfast, interfaith water ceremonies, and Ambassador for Peace Awards, and were attended by representatives of diverse faiths, including Baha'i, Jainism, and Sikhism, as well as all the major world religions.
On March 24th, 82 ministers, leaders, and unificationists attended the monthly prayer breakfast for the American Clergy Leadership Conference, ACLC, at the Clifton Family Church in New Jersey. ACLC co-chairman Dr. Michael Jenkins expressed the importance of the marriage blessing and reminded the ministers that, as spiritual leaders, they are central leaders of America. The main speaker for the event was Manhattan Family Church pastor Reverend Tanya Edwards, who emphasized the significance and importance of marriage. In conclusion, she and her husband invited all couples to come forward and offer a toast while receiving the marriage blessing.
On March 31st, the Elizabeth Family Church held a multicultural festival and family blessing designed to support tribal Messiah work in their community. After a number of performances reflecting various ethnic groups and cultures, the participants were encouraged to renew their marriage vows and invited to inherit the love of God through the holy wine ceremony. The EFC members determined to make this a monthly program with hopes of bringing more and more families to the deeper experience of multiculturalism and the ideal of one family under God.
We've been here in Czech Republic for the past 2 months and a half. This really traditional area, it's like so much history is filled into the Czech Republic. We go to a school called Czech Technical University.
And here we meet a variety of students from different countries, different races, nationalities. One thing in common though that we meet is many of the students are atheists, but the one thing that they do believe in is a higher energy, and so with that we can really reach out to them and share with them the logical side of God through the principles of creation.
5-day workshop so far has been really great, and I'm learning a lot from it. And also the guests are learning a lot because there's a lot of scientific explanation going on. During our meal times, we sit together in one table, having good discussions about the lectures that we heard. A good time where we feel like we're close and we're one family.
I've been living in Prague for 5 months. I've come to this 5-day seminar, which was really kind of eye-opening for me, and I hope this whole seminar will change myself as a person.
So after our experience here in Czech Republic, we're actually heading back to America, and we're going to be going to different CARP locations and continuing on our witnessing efforts, reaching out and sharing our experiences with the members there.
The Peace Starts With Me event in Vienna with True Mother is just around the corner on April 29th. This is going to be the largest event with True Parents ever in Europe, and you can now register to be there in person. The registration fee includes a sightseeing tour of historic Vienna, as well as other programs. For more information or to make a contribution, go to familyfed.org.
Hi, Susan here. Have you checked out the job opportunities page at familyfed.org? We regularly have updated open job positions from all over the United States. Right now, that includes a position for pastor at the Omaha Family Church in Nebraska. GPA is looking to hire a new operations and finance manager. Many of these ads contain job descriptions, so you can feel free to take a look and see if you have the qualifications that are needed. One thing to mention is that many of these positions also come with mentoring and support, so you can learn as you work. Just click the tab that says Job Opportunities. You can also access the job opportunities on your phone. Just go to familyfed.org, click on the menu icon, and scroll down until you see the Job Opportunities banner. Summer is just around the corner, So college students are interested in finding solid internships for the summer. Go ahead and check us out. You might just find that perfect opportunity you've been looking for.
That's it for now. Thanks for watching. God bless you and see you next week! Woo!
Thank you. Before we move on to announcements, now we will have our announcements for the week. This week we co-hosted with WFWP in an interreligious sharing series with other faith leaders at the Lady Fatima Mosque. Everyone shared about their perspectives on purpose of life. Thank you to everyone who attended this. Thanks to everyone who attended, and to Gail Alives for her work in spearheading this important work of interreligious dialogue. Here we have some pictures. For our next sermon series called Where Are We Going? We will be talking about visions for our community, such as Vision 2020, and also maybe projects or other things that might be visions for other things. Now we will have Pastor Mike talk about the 59th True Parents Day celebration on April 15th.
Let's give Jonathan a round of applause. He's doing a great job. Yeah. Woo! That's great. True Parents Day is one of our special holy days. And it's a day to celebrate our founders. We call True Parents. And we're doing something a little special this year. We're actually preparing awards for members of our community who we really feel embody their heart and their service and their mindset to want to serve people and to serve God. And so some of you may have seen an email that went out a couple days ago asking to fill out a form, just a short thing to nominate somebody. But we're going to do something a little different today. Most of you probably have your phones with you. So if you wouldn't mind, I want to take just a minute that you can nominate a person so that we can have a nice pool of people to choose from and that you can get your voice heard, because I'm sure there's somebody in the community that you feel really should be nominated for this award. Or a couple. You can nominate a person or a couple. And then next Sunday, we will present this award. It's nothing too fancy, but it's a nice certificate and a little gift just to thank you for representing True Parents to us in our community. So if you can take your phone out, if there's nobody that comes to mind, or if you're relatively new here and you don't know a lot of people, don't worry about it. But I'm going to give you a phone number that you can text, okay? So if you're ready, I'm going to give you a minute, give you a couple seconds, pull your phone out. Phone number is 303 253 4123. And you can text this number, and you just put in the text, just nominate somebody or a couple. Just put their name or the name of their couple. And optionally, you can write a little sentence or two about why you want to nominate this person or this couple. So they really serve the community. They're really humble. I really feel a lot of love from these people, so on and so forth. So yeah, something like that. And then send that text. That text will go to the elders group, who will look through the different nominations, and they will choose a few people for next Sunday where we will give the award. And that is what I have to say. Thank you very much.
The next Who Are We presentation will be next Sunday on the same day, April 15th. If it doesn't matter if you're a new or long-time member, everyone is welcome to attend this presentation of our vision, our visions for this community, and this presentation will be given by Pastor Mike. So on April 29th from 3 to 5 p.m., we will have an interreligious celebration of marriage event here at the church. This is an opportunity to renew your vows with couples from others' faiths and put God at the center of our marriages. The 2018 National Ocean Challenge program in Kodiak, Alaska is officially open for registration. If you're new to this, you can ask Joey Nye or Dan Nye about it, as they have attended this program a few times. And you can register at oceanchallenge.org. Next week, the Kata family will be cooking and cleaning, and we would like to appreciate them for cooking and cleaning for us.